Now let's download and open the data that we're going to use in the following examples. The data are available on the teaching page of my website under the Excel examples section. You'll see that the data are available in both CSV and Excel formats, but we're going to focus on the CSV format. CSV stands for comma separated values. A CSV file is a plain text file that stores data. Let's click on the CSV file link. We see the data rendered for us in plain text. The rows correspond to, or I should say the lines in the text file correspond to rows in the data set. The first row is the header information of the data, and columns are separated by commas. Looking at the second line, you can see that the first observation in the data is January 1st, 1948. The second observation is February 1st, 1948. The third observation is March 1st. So the data are monthly. Now, there are a couple of ways we can download this file. The first is from the page that we're looking at here. I can come up to the menu of my browser, select Save Page As, or whatever the appropriate menu option is for the browser that you're using. Follow the prompt, save the file in whatever folder I want. Here I've saved it in my downloads folder. Okay. An alternative way to download the data would be to come to the link that we clicked on earlier, right click, and select Save Link As, or again, whatever the appropriate option is for the browser that you're using. And now we look, and it looks like my browser here is trying to save this file as a text file and not a CSV file. So there are two ways I could deal with this. Obviously, I could save the file as is, change the extension later, or I could just deal with it right now. We'll change this to CSV. Overwrite the original file. Okay, so now the file has been downloaded. Okay. Now, in a lot of cases, if you have Microsoft Excel on your computer, when you try to open a CSV file, the computer will open it in Microsoft Excel. And indeed, that's what happens on my computer. The default program for opening CSV files on my computer is Microsoft Excel. And so here the data is, and I can start working with it right away. Now, in some cases, you may have to either open Excel first, come to File, open the file this way. In some cases, when you try to do this, I've seen this for some users, Excel does not recognize the columns of the data, and all the data are kind of rendered in one column, okay, and the file is not usable. Okay. In a situation like that, what you need to do is import the file from text, and there's a couple of ways you can do that. I'll go ahead and show you. So I'll go ahead and close this, Command New or Control New, or excuse me, Command N or Control N, create an empty spreadsheet. I'm going to come to Data, go over here to Get Data, and the exact menu options on Excel may look different. I may have an older version of Excel than what you're using, but the basic idea is the same and has been unchanged for years. Okay. So there are a couple of options. You can come to either Get Data or From Text. If I come to From Text, this is the older option. I'll select a file that I want to import. Could be any text file. And you have some options here, whether the data, whether the columns in the data are separated by, say, spaces or tabs or commas or whatever, or where there's a fixed width in between, or fixed text space width in between the column values. Okay, so you see just toggling this. Well, doesn't really do anything. All right. So the default is to look for tab separated values. If I deselect that, select comma instead, you can see that now the columns in the data are inferred. Okay. Click next. You can, if you want, tell Excel to try to infer that this first column is a date. It doesn't really matter. I guess we can try to do that. The format is year, month, day. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we'll Finish, import it into the existing spreadsheet. Okay, the data have now been imported. All right. Second way to do this would be to, again, come back up to get data. Select text CSV, find the file, import it. Okay, and this is the same basic process. All right, and now that the data are presented as a table, and you can use these little buttons to sort the data, and that's great. Okay, you can get rid of a lot of this table stuff by saying, let's get rid of the filter button. Up here on whatever you call this table style, clear the table style. Okay, and then now the data are imported. Okay. All right, so one more issue I want to raise here, that what I'm looking at right now is actually an unsaved Excel file. So I'm going to close this. I'm not going to save it. I'm going to reopen my laborforce data.csv file. Now, when I open this, you see I get this error, or not error, but a warning message saying possible data loss. The issue is that while I am looking at data in Excel, or Excel is showing the data to me, the data are still stored in a plain text file, which means that there are things that I could do to the data that could not be stored back to the original file type. For example, if I want to make the column headings boldface by using Command B or Control B, this formatting will show up in Excel, but I can't save it back to the original CSV file. This also will apply if I want to use, or the issue also applies if I want to use, say, formulas in the spreadsheet. I can use formulas in the file that I have open, but I can't save the formulas back to the original file. Okay, if I want to make a graph, okay, I can't save that back to the original file. Okay, so if I want to do anything more complicated, whether it's formatting or creating graphs, I need to save this file in an Excel format. Okay, so I'm going to do that by either I could take the shortcut right here and click Save As, or come up to File, Save As. See all these options I have. I'm going to come up here to Excel Workbook, save the file. The warning goes away, and now I'm free to save my data with its formatting. Okay.